everybody, this is Ginger, and this is Ginger's Chat Show and special edition. Yes, I look tired because Loki kept me up most of the night. Um, I don't know what he was anxious about, but other than that, I'm sorry. Other than that, I hope all is well with all of you. I'm sorry about yesterday. I was so busy with stuff and things were on my mind and everything. You know how that goes. My life gets in the way and your project gets kind of glossed over, so to speak. Anyway, this is a special edition. Trump is in trouble. Deep trouble. New Jersey and New York are looking at revoking his liquor license. Because felons are not supposed to handle liquor. They can't be a car salesman. In other words, they would have a hard time finding a job if they have to work. Now, there are some programs called the second chance programs, and it depends on the conviction and what type of felony is and everything. There are second chance programs. But Trump, knowing him, he won't work for anybody else. He's too much of a narcissist, and he's a germophobic and everything, and he can't travel, can't go to any other country. I guess he hated traveling. But as president, you do a lot of traveling, okay? I mean, it's part of the job. So anyway, now New Jersey and New York is looking at revoking his license, the liquor license. So there goes his income there. He cannot sell his stock, his Trump media stock, until September. Well, also as a convicted felon, there is a clause in their bank loan contracts that you can't be a convicted felon on that. They're probably right now be calling his loans now. So he's not going to really have much of anything. He could probably sell his building, sell his plane and everything, and the money would be required to go to whoever it's supposed to go to. So he got himself into this mess. And frankly, the guy should know better, but he's never been taught to respect the law, and he was never taught to respect the rules and regulations and why they're there in the first place. And guy's an idiot more than anything. And his niece said he had such poor parenting advice, and his dad, her great uncle, was basically a bully himself. Not a narcissist, but a bully. So Trump is going to have to drop the race. He can't be president because convicted felons cannot handle government, or not. They're not. They're basically banned from federal jobs. That's what they're banned from. And he can't be president. The one who's president right now is Biden, and he's the best guy for the job. Sure, he's, up in his late 70s, but so what? In his 80s. But he's still in very sound mind. He's still very healthy. He takes excellent care of himself. And he's trying to do his best to fix the problems in this country that Trump, has created. Okay? Trump created those problems. Um, Trump should have been forced to put back everything the way it was. What should have happened. Uh, and of course, with COVID, when we had that, uh, Trump let the virus in the country, and you're supposed to defend and protect the Constitution, which means you're supposed to protect and defend the people in the United States. And Trump didn't do that. And he was not sincere. Hey, Carolyn! Hi! Yeah, yesterday it completely slipped my mind doing my chat show. I had a lot to do and everything, and I completely forgot about it. You know how that goes. So anyway, Trump is in such a deep hole now that he can't get himself out of it, ever. And sentencing now, it looks like Trump will be facing jail time. Because an requirement for avoiding jail time, he has to show remorse. He has to show apologies and remorse and everything that he did. Well, of course, you know, he's denying everything all the time. And he publicly denying it. Trump should have kept his trap shut. But no, he craves attention all the time, and he's, you know. Well, thank you. It's good to see you too, Carolyn. Yeah, he deserves jail time. They should not give him home detention or anything else, or wear an ankle brace or anything. He should be in prison. And plus, what they should do is take his plane away, just in case he decides to skip the country. Of course, it depends. There are some countries that are non-extradition treaty countries that he can fly to, and they don't have the strong judicial system in place like some countries do. He can't fly to UK. He can't fly to Canada. He can't fly to any other country that will not accept convicted felons. So unless he buys Epstein Island and stays there and exiles himself there, that'd be great. But yeah, he should be in prison. He needs to be taught a hard lesson. Now, I understand. I thought this was pretty fast on the Hunter Biden gun trial. He was convicted on all 4 counts. Well, the guy who's a prosecutor is a Trump appointee. Let that sink in. I think the guy was doing it more on politics than he was on the actual law. Because the judge, a number of times, had reprimanded him. He says, no, you don't bring politics into this. It's on the law. So, since basically Hunter is convicted, whether he faces jail time, they don't know. And on this drug addiction and everything else, well, he had a little bit of drug addiction. Well, that was left over from his car accident that he had when he was a kid. And once you get bones, when you have a serious injury like that, he had broken a number of bones, okay? I think he broke 2 legs and an arm in that car wreck, which killed his little sister and his mom. His brother, Bo, who died later from glioblastoma, brain cancer, he was also seriously injured. So there's a lot of pain that involves that. You're never right after an injury like that. It's not the same. It's never the same. You're not the same person. Um, you try to, but you're never the same person. So, I'm sure that he will appeal conviction because many ways it sounds like to me either the prosecutor is not really listening to what Hunter Biden is saying, or the jury is not listening to what Hunter Biden is saying. Okay, because many may have not never experienced drug addiction issues. So, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Um, Other than that, let's see what else. Oh, yesterday, uh, the Israeli Defense Force were able to free 4 hostages from Hamas over there in their territory. They were to get the hostages out. They were free 4 of them. They're still looking for more. Hamas is playing games, and of course, you know, Hamas is backed by Iran. Iran needs to stay out of it. Um, so they put out a plan. The Security Council has approved the U.S. plan on the ceasefire. All except for Hamas. Well, Hamas is not really recognized as a nation, so to speak. They're more of a terrorist group. I feel sorry for the Palestinian people themselves. They didn't ask for this at all. And Bibi Netanyahu he himself is in trouble. Okay? He's also being indicted and for a number of corruption things, and they need new leadership in there, in Israel. Because if Golden, for example, I don't know if you remember that, Carolyn, or you saw that in history. You ever heard of a woman by the name of Golda Meir? She was a U.S./Israeli citizen, okay? She taught kindergarten here in the United States. She moved, her husband was a diplomat. She moved to Israel when he moved there. He had to go back home. Well, in ensuing years, she became an Israeli prime minister. And she would not put up with this crap by these terrorist organizations. She's trying to hold Israel together. Israel was formed in 1948. So, really what the big solution they should have is have a Palestine nation. Palestine as a nation, sovereign nation, and Israel still a sovereign nation, and just leave it at that. Let Palestine rule themselves, have their own army, have their own navy, whatever, to protect themselves from Hamas. In other words, Palestine should give Hamas the boot, that you don't belong here. And they should give Iran the boot. Iran needs to stop stirring up trouble, and that's what they're doing. They're stirring up trouble, okay? Because when I was in college, junior college, and I led a study group, it was made up of Middle East kids that were my age, 19, 20, and 21 age range. And many of the young men in that group, I was the only woman that led the group. They asked me to lead it for the U.S. history class. Because U.S. history was the required course to take in junior college in order to get your associate degree. And I go, okay, But here's the rules, guys. One, you don't fight each other. Okay? Two, you don't pick on each other. Um, you don't bully. Especially when I looked at directly at Iraq and Iran that were picking on the Israeli kid. And I said, you need to stop picking on Israel. Knock it off. I told him, if I catch you guys doing it again, I will boot you off this study group. And this one kid says, you wouldn't. And I go, yes, I would. Try me. And of course, he backed off. Uh, but, you know, I know it's through generations and generations they were fighting like this. But you would think they would get sick and tired of it after a while. You think they would want peace, get along, prosper, build things back up, and stop knocking each other down, and start getting along. Um, on the other note, the space exploration. Last week, on June 6th, there was history made. Starliner launched, and she's up in International Space Station right now. They were going to have her come home this Sunday, but they decided to extend it to the 18th because they want more time to check out the system to make sure the leaks were corrected and the pesky uh, thrusters were fixed. Because there's some engineers on board the International Space Station to help them fix that. And there was going to be a spacewalk done to check and fix it. Um, so the Starliner crew is going to be doing that, fixing that, and testing all the other systems. And they gave the new motherboard to the who was it that needed a new motherboard? Computer motherboard to I think they gave it to the Dragon crew because it was for the station. It was a station computer. It's always there all the time. That it needed a new motherboard, and they had to do, reload it and transfer everything on because the old motherboard was just was giving out. So they got that fixed, and of course they got new supplies and fixed everything. All the experiments and everything is going to be done up until the 18th, and that's when they reload the experiments back and take back some of the experiments that Dragon did. And then the rest will be taken back when the Dragon crew switches out this fall. The other ship that did successful flight test was Starship, and it said there were going to be some improvements made for Flight Test 5, which is going to be happening in the next few weeks. The only thing that they need to do is add more heat shield tiles, especially around the flaps. As you saw when the booster was coming back, that was the booster. No, it was first stage that was coming back. Coming back, and it did a landing in the Indian Ocean. It caught on fire. Okay, it was threatening to burn through the flap. Well, the old girl held on until she was in the water. And they go, yeah, we need to put more heat shield around the ship, more around the ship. And it didn't really do any difference to weight or anything because the heat shield tiles are very, very light. So they're going to add more heat shield around the ship for Flight Test 5 to protect it more and also to protect the flaps. And they might consider putting a heat shield on the flaps themselves. so they don't burn through. Because they need the flaps to control the direction where it goes. So, exploration is humming along. And so now both NASA and when NASA completes its flight test and everything, and I think next year they will be doing another crewed flight of Starliner. Starship next year will be doing a crewed flight. I think it's after flight test 5, it'll be flight test 6 is when they start the crew testing on that. But they'll be using both companies, both SpaceX and NASA. It depends on the type of material they use, Carolyn. They use like composite materials, which is very, very light, pretty tough. I handled composite materials when I worked at Boeing. The heat shields are decent, are very, very light. They're not heavy at all. Yeah. Used to be the heat shields were pretty heavy, but they changed out materials and everything on it. But when you have questions on there, want to know more, check out. I'm sorry. Check out SpaceX, what they're doing. Check out NASA, their website, what they're doing. I'm sorry, my nose itches. Just a minute. Oh. And what's going on and what they're doing and everything. There is talk of wanting to see if they could nab the Hubble spacecraft and fix it. In other words, rope it and get it fixed, get it done, and then send it back out. There was talk about doing that. So, yeah, the materials they use now are very, very light. The only thing that's heavy is like the engines. Now, the one company is, I don't know if you watched any of the space launches. Carolyn, go to the launch pad. It's run by Zach. He is the founder of the launch pad. And he broadcasts all kinds of rocket launches and balloon launches and everything that's going on. And they explain what's going on, what they're doing. And there's one company, the Rocket Lab company. All their rocket is made a 3D printed rocket. Okay, very, very light rocket. It's really kind of cute rocket. They launched one, I think, a week or two ago. Anyway, it took off. It did really well. Now, some other companies and other countries are having issues, like Russia. And then, of course, you would think that North Korea would learn. Yeah, have John go to the launch pad, subscribe to it. When you subscribe to it, do something. I'm sorry. When you subscribe to a video or a creator on YouTube, it's always free. Subscriptions are free. You don't have to pay into it unless you support them. Okay? Many of them have memberships that are like different levels of membership and how you want to help the creator along. I'm still working toward that on my YouTube channel. So, yeah. Check out the launch pad. And Overlook Horizon is another one. the space pod, I think it is called. Um, May the creators do do live broadcasts of the launches, rocket launches, because not always does the traditional channels like ABC, NBC, and CBS, they very rarely broadcast this. Why they ignore it, I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I will see you on Friday at 1 o'clock. I promise I'll be there. See you at 1 o'clock. And be sure, if you want to watch this video again, you can always watch it on YouTube, because I'll be posting the same video on YouTube. So thank you for coming, Carolyn. I love you. And tell John hi for me. Good, I'm glad. And I'll put out a poll on what you guys want. So, what you would like to see. And I will see you on Friday. Okay? Be sure to insist, persist, and push back. Love you. Bye-bye.